Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, how's it going? And today we're going to cover the 1.4 limited Lightcone for the first half, Jingliu's signature Lightcone, I Shall Be My Own Sword. It looks like real awesome design, and we're going to go in detail as well as compare together some alternatives that we have and whether it's really necessary if you're planning a pull for Jingliu. And also I'll talk about maybe who else can use it, because its versatility is also something to consider too. So the design really looks great, and this is of course the official information from the Hoyo Lab or Honkai Star. Check it out if you're interested. I'll leave like the link in the video description below. But first things first, what I always like to look at is like the base stats here: 1164, 582, and 396, which is pretty standard for most of the limited 5-star Lightcones. Even the Blade one and the Imbibitor Lunae seems to follow around the same stats. We'll check it out more in detail in the game engine in a little bit, but let's first take a look at the effects. With this Evening Jade, increase the wearer's crit damage by 20%, and when an ally gets attacked or loses HP, the wearer gains 1 stack of Eclipse up to a max of 3 stacks. So you gain 3 stacks of Eclipse after you get attacked, lose HP. How much is each stack? Is like 14% damage boost for the next attack only. So after the next attack, it wears off. So 14% times 3, that's like 42% for as Super Imposition 1. Of course, because if you have like 4 team members, Jingliu in her ultimate state or in her enhanced state, she saps the HP of 3 units, immediately you get the max stacks, you attack, you get the damage boost of 42% regardless. Very nice. And when 3 stacks are reached, additionally enables the attack to ignore 12% on the enemy's defense. So it's even better for characters like Jingliu who can use like the full stacks rather than only some characters that you put on other ones and you only can use like 1 or 2 stacks. So pretty interesting. This attack of course will be removed after the wearer uses an attack. Crit damage is generally hard to find. In my opinion, I think crit damage is better than crit rate. Because characters, for example, can get crit rate outside of this very easily in very popular sets like Rutilant Arena. You have Inert Salsoto. You also have, for example, the HP set Longevous Disciple. You have characters like Fucc who also buff crit rate. Crit damage I think is way better in terms of rarity, but of course this 20% is a lot less than Imbibitor Lunae's and of course Blade's signature Lightcone, which I think gives like 18% crit rate. We'll see in the engine in a little bit. But overall, my thoughts, I think this is a fantastic Lightcone, very good. Probably without a doubt going to be best in slot for Jingliu by quite a significant amount, and I think it's quite effective for characters like Blade too, especially if you don't have Blade's signature Lightcone, because you get crit damage here. He loses HP very often whenever he attacks. You don't get the max stacks very often unless he's like drawing enough aggro and keeps getting attacked before he of course gets to counter and stuff. The part that I'm curious about here is remove after the wearer uses an attack. Does it count like counter attacking, for example Clara as well as Blade? More testing has to be done of course. We will do it once the game goes live, because if this counts towards counter attacks, it means you can just build like a slow Blade, slow Clara, you get the max stacks and you just like counter the whole enemy with this defense ignore and the damage buff, which could be very significant and would change the commentary quite a little bit as well. So now we have talked about this, I think it's definitely very good. Let's go into the game engine and see the other Destruction Lightcones available. Okay, and the other Destruction Lightcones available, I think the main ones that we are going to consider probably, let me just give some quick commentary about the 4 stars. Out of all of the 4 stars for Jingliu, I think the only 2 that I'm actually like actively considering will be a Secret Vow if you have no choice. She doesn't get this second effect because she doesn't sap her own life, so this is quite unreliable. But 40%, if you have it at like Super Imposition 5, 40% increased damage dealt is quite interesting. Not as good as how this was with Blade, of course, because Blade saps his own life, but still a bit of a copium kind of thing. Nowhere to Run is another one that I think is pretty interesting if you just want like a summary. This is of course a battle pass one, you have to pay money for it, quite a bit of money. But this one is that when you attack or increases the wearer's attack by 24%, she doesn't need too much attack. She saps the HP of her teammates and gains attack. Whenever the wearer defeats an enemy, they restore HP equal to 12% of their attack. Gives her a bit of sustain as well, just especially if you're running her more as an aggro damage dealer with links maybe to draw some aggro, restore some energy. I think these 2 are probably my favorite for my 4 stars. And let's talk about the 5 stars with in order of like how pay to win it is. On the 4th Aeon is a free one. You can get it from the Lightcone shop in Herta shop. And whenever you attack, you increase your damage by 16%, stacks up to 4 times. You get good amounts of attack, but she already has a lot of attack coming from her other abilities, so you do get that diminishing return. But other than that, it's nice stats overall. Slightly lower than of course the limited 5-star one, but it's still a step up from the 4 stars. And you also get a nice 24% damage bonus, which is very good for her. 4 of Aeon is not too bad for a start. I think I'll favor this over like the others. Something irreplaceable. This is a standard Lightcone. Of course, you have to either get lucky on the banner or pull it from the shop with the exchanging it for the amount that is required. Here, I will just talk about it as Super Imposition 1 because Super Imposition 5 of this is quite whaley. Increases attack by 24% is normal. As mentioned, attack doesn't super benefit her. And when you defeat an enemy or is hit, immediately restores HP, gives her a bit more sustain. I like this quite a bit. And at the same time, whereas damage is increased by 24% when you are hit or defeat an enemy. This one's a bit trickier, especially if she doesn't draw aggro. Like you're running with another aggro tank like Fucc, you're running with like Mark 7 or something. It could be a little bit trickier to play this second part. So depending on your roster, I would say you can adjust your team composition to get the more value of this. To draw more aggro, I think, for example, putting her with Links will be a good idea. So you can put Links drawing aggro, the survival instinct on Jingliu. Jingliu draws the aggro, she gets even more sustain, more damage bump for her. It could be a good free-to-play alternative as well. So those are like two thoughts. So, and now let's talk about the other ones real quick. Not everyone has limited Lightcones and probably won't be using it on Jingliu if you have these. Crit rate here, as you can see, here is HP slightly higher. I think attack is about the same, defense is slightly less, and Brighter Than the Sun has much higher attack, slightly lower HP, of course base attack. So this one is nice because if you have this, it's like 18%, you have slightly higher attack which is skills off with, and of course you have this, like you use basic attacks, they gain certain amounts of stacks which increase attack and regeneration. I think this can be used for her as well for some reason. If you don't are not using it on Imbibitor Lunae, maybe you did 10 pull and got lucky or something. Similarly, increases whereas crit rate by 18%, increase max HP by 18%. This is not a bad thing because it gives her a bit more tankiness, and when of course whereas attack or consumes their own HP, their damage is increased by 24%. I don't think she gets this part that consume their own HP, but if she's drawing aggro, destruction characters have more aggro, you get the damage buff as well. Overall pretty good, but she already has a lot of crit rate, so that's why I don't really fancy crit rate stuff like these two, and that is just a quick thoughts on summary. Now what's more important is alternatives, because once we pull the Lightcone, we want to know exactly what other character can we use it on. I think Destruction, that Lightcone, as well as having the ability to gain the stacks of Eclipse to get a damage boost whenever you either take damage or you sap your teammates' HP, and also have a damage, for example, defense ignore. I think characters like Blade, Clara could see some value in it, especially Blade, since his counter only activates when he's at 5 stacks, which means he has the chance to build up that 3 stacks. Clara, every time like a teammate's hit, she's hit, she counters, so it's a bit trickier to get that full stacks. But of course, if counter is not counted in, no pun intended, then I think a lot more utility can come out from these two characters as well. Imbibitor Lunae, I don't think will do as well with it. He doesn't really like getting hit, he doesn't really like taking damage in the first place unless you run him with a proper team composition. So I won't recommend Imbibitor Lunae for that reason. I think he also scales better with like more attack stats, which you can easily find from other gear compared to Jingliu, who has a bit of diminishing return on attack. Let me see, am I missing Clara, Imbibitor Lunae? We have a lot of destruction characters in the game so far. Hook, I don't think anyone's really playing Hook, but I don't think she will work well with it. Doesn't like getting hit either. And yeah. Ireland, he loses his own HP only, so not teammates' HP, and he does good damage, doesn't like getting hit as well, so I wouldn't say like you will run it on the 4 stars. Mainly really is like Blade, Jingliu, both of them I think can use it. In my opinion, which one do I think is better, Unreachable Sight versus Jingliu's Destruction Lightcone? I honestly would favor the Destruction Lightcone for Jingliu a little bit more than this one. This one's a bit more conditional because you have max HP increase, and you have to be attacked or consume their own HP in order to get this damage buff. The other one is like crit damage, which is much more universal, anyone can use it, which means like Jingliu and Blade both can use that one. Whereas this one, because of the crit rate, you don't really need it for crit rate, very good crit rate characters like Jingliu already. So I would say between the two, this one is of course better for Blade, but for versatility, I think the other one will reign supreme. Just my overall thoughts. And if you guys find this video helpful, do check out my banner review, which I'll be talking about on the channel maybe tomorrow. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.